Greetings, my name is Cayman. I run the Cayman Show podcast, and we are back in the room. I started making podcasts. I was stuck in four walls, bored absolutely out of my skull during lockdown. I needed some human contact. I wasn't able to get any from between those four walls. I was literally climbing them, losing my absolute mind. So I thought to myself one day, I'm going to get myself some podcasting gear, see if I can speak to people. So I started doing it, first of all, with people I know, just talking about their experiences in lockdown, etc., local bands, local businesses, things like that. From there, I managed to get a few television celebrities on, etc., as well, and it just started elevating and building from there. That's basically where it all began. What's my favorite episode of my podcast? It's a real tough question to answer, defining one specific episode. Obviously, the biggest guest, if I change the question myself, the biggest guest I've had on the show would be Carol Baskin, as seen on Tiger King. If you type into YouTube now, the Cayman Show Carol Baskin interview, there she is in all her glory. That was an interesting interview, to say the very least. I've had several I've enjoyed. I've had Cheryl Baker on there, Eurovision Song Contest winner. I've had Nick Cotton out of EastEnders on. I've had a variety of WWE wrestlers on there. I think the one that I've enjoyed the most, however, the one that I thought, oh my God, this guy's absolutely nuts, he's wacky, he's bonkers, was former Iron Maiden frontman Blaze Bayley. From start to finish, it was like I didn't even have to be there. I did not even have to be there, sat in front of him. He could have done that podcast on his own. And those are the sort of guests that I like to speak to. Guests that like to speak, that like to tell stories, guests that light up the room, and Blaze Bayley was that guy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you're watching, if you're listening, just check him out. He's an absolute legend, an absolute god even, a rock icon. Upcoming guests, I'll be honest with you, in terms of upcoming guests, I don't really have a massive list. I've got a wish list, but I don't have a list as such of who's coming up. Normally, as I go along, I just try and grab guests as and when I can. For example, Carol Baskin. Randomly, I was hovering through Twitter one day and I thought, oh, there's Carol Baskin. I'll ask her to come on the podcast. So I dropped her a quick message thinking she's never going to come on. Little old me, the caiman from Merthyr Tydfil. This is Carol Baskin from Tiger King, for crying out loud. But I messaged her. Within about 5 minutes then, I had a ping. Carol Baskin, yes, here's my diary. Drop me a message or pick a time out of my diary. So basically, I could see in her diary, this was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I messaged her. In the diary then, the next available slot was 5 p.m. that same day. So I thought to myself, by God, I must strike while this iron is freaking hot, and I'd taken that 5 o'clock slot. So immediately I rushed home, started making some notes, and bish bash bosh, Carol Baskin was on the show within 2 hours. In terms of guests I've got coming up, I don't have anyone on the list scheduled for the show, but I've got a massive list of people who I want to get on the show. And one of which, who I am busting to get on the show, is David Hasselhoff. You may have seen him in Knight Rider. You may have seen him in Baywatch. You may have seen him in Debenhams in Merthyr Tydfil, where he found his current wife. The Hoff is the man, he's a legend, he's an icon, he's a god himself, and I want to talk to him about Knight Rider, I want to talk to him about Baywatch, I want to talk to him about Merthyr Tydfil, I want to talk to him about Gleneath, where his missus is from now, and I just think we'd hit it off. So David, if you're out there and you're listening to this, shout me a holler, pal. What do I hope to achieve with my podcast? I guess when I started out, what I hoped to achieve from it initially was sanity, because I could feel myself during lockdown absolutely losing my box, absolutely losing my mind. As mentioned earlier, climbing the walls. So I think anyone and everyone that knows me knows that that's a far cry for me to achieve any sort of sanity, because I'm a bit nutty. But I'm at peace with that. From the podcast now, what I'd like to achieve, I just like to continue building the audience. I never thought when I started it, just sat in a room via Zoom, chatting to my friends. I never thought it would progress to the level it's at now, which is fantastic. But I just like to keep building on the audience, really. At the moment, I think I've got about 600 subscribers on the YouTube channel, aiming for 1,000. That's my next milestone, so do subscribe, everybody. Yeah, I just want to keep building on it. I want to keep meeting different people with different stories. I love going through nostalgia, like people from my childhood, like actors, musicians, television personalities, etc. I love chatting to them. I'm like reliving my childhood through our conversations. That's awesome. And I just like meeting weird and wonderful people, people who've overcome obstacles, people who've got a story to tell, just people in general. What I hope to achieve from it is just to continue with the success that it's rolling with at the moment, and long may it continue. So the Cayman Show is available on all audio platforms, massive following on YouTube as well. I urge everybody to check out the videos, like them, comment on them. I'll reply to every single comment without fail, guaranteed. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for daily notifications on our videos as well. Yeah, and if anyone's interested in coming on, or has got a weird, wacky, wonderful story, or if anyone's got any suggestions for guests to come on the show, give me a shout, because anyone is welcome, everyone is welcome. Woohoo!